Crowley's sketchy. I don't really know how else to open this other than pointing out the obvious. He's sketchy, he seems to be the antagonist of the game. I really wish his crime was just embezzlement because that would be hilarious. He acts as an incompetent guardian, and that dude is honestly just kind of awful sometimes. But there are some things he's done that make me very suspicious and very scared of him. So let's chat. Why does Crowley carry transmutation potions with him? Especially since the game implies the kind he had on him would have fallen into illegal territory. In the prologue, when Grimm and the MCU tell Crowley they fought off ghosts, Crowley asks them to demonstrate again and chugs the transmutation potion he just so happened to have. When I read this in JP for the first time, it didn't strike me as odd because no one at that time realized it was legally dubious. The game had been out for literally 20 minutes, how could anyone have known? But reading it for the first time in EN made me realize that, hold on, that's kind of concerning. But before we dive into Crowley's whole part in this and the horrifying implications, we need to discuss transformation magic and its place in Twisted Wonderland. The legality of transmutation potions is honestly very murky at first glance, mostly because we get contradicting information from both JP and EN. Not to mention all the characters in Twist are pretty morally gray except for Jack, so even getting info from them might be skewed. However, from what Azul has said on it and the fact he does use it in the first place, my understanding is that overall transmutation magic is mostly illegal, but some exceptions exist, either for everyone or just beastmen and mer people. Because let's be real, Jack would not have his unique magic be transformation if it was, completely illegal. He just wouldn't. He's a good boy. He wouldn't do it. In the Japanese version, Azul literally calls transmutation magic and potion Kinjutsu Kodatsu, or forbidden class of magic. Leona also calls it forbidden in EN right before his overplot. Although NRC has classes that discuss transmutation, as implied with Epple and Phil's chat story, it seems like the actual practice is banned on campus. In JP, Leona calls such potions Gokinsei, which translates to prohibited or banned. And in EN, Azul calls them taboo. However, we know that the Octotrio and Jack use transmutation magic, the Octotrio so they can be human on land, and Jack using that kind of magic in his signature spell. Looking at both their forms, they're pretty identical. It's easy to tell that Eel Jade and Human Jade are the same person. Jack is a little harder to tell because, hello, big puppy. But you still have the similarities. This leads me to suspect that Beastmen and Mer people probably have an exception and can use transmutation magic, granted that either A, it corresponds to whatever animal aspect they have, and or B, species change is allowed as long as someone is still recognizable as themselves. I would also hazard a guess that transmutation is allowed as a form of accessibility, as the Octotrio would not be able to attend NRC without one, and that could lead to NRC being inaccessible to merfolk, and I think we can all see the issue there. I think we can all see that. If we use the above lore hints, no matter how you look at it, Crowley's possession of a transmutation potion was illegal. The only way it could be legal was if he was somehow a ghost just masquerading as a live human, which is honestly unnecessary. Ghosts have jobs at Night Raven College, and while the job of head mage is heavy, Crowley theoretically could still fill the position even if dead, so long as he stayed behind. But also, let's just look at the man, period. He doesn't seem to be someone who really cares about laws in the first place, which legality does not equal morality by any means. But also, this man has no morals, so But anyway, while Crowley is recognizable to us as players, it's only because of his mask and top hat. Those are just clothing items, and I don't think that would be protected under the law at all if I was correct in my assumptions. Clothes are removable. Not sure if you guys knew that, but it's true. If you can only recognize someone because of their clothing, I don't think that would fall under the legal use of transmutation magic. And while this could have been done just for players to know it's him, I would argue that there's other ways to make Crowley recognizable without the top hat and mask. Or in addition to. The black and yellow eyes, the lips, the fey ears could be tip-offs to show that it's Crowley. But we only get the eyes. It's a potion that almost completely changes him, and I think this wouldn't fall under any legal use. So this begs the question, why does Crowley have one? Why does he need them? In JP, Azul states that the entire branch of transmutation magic is a very high-level class of magic. He also states that the potions are rare. And if he just downs one at the drop of a hat, I would imagine that means he either has a lot of them, or the capacity to make more given what Azul told us. If Crowley doesn't care about just popping one randomly, it means he has easy access to them, and if he has easy access to them and he's comfortable taking them willy-nilly, How often does he use them? Does he use them sparingly? Does he use them often? What does he transform into? Who does he transform into? How can we be sure we're speaking to the real Jade, the real Malleus, the real Deuce? Has Crowley transformed into students before? I don't have answers for that. I just like making people feel paranoid. No, for reals though, this is serious. I do wonder if this will come up in the plot later, but for now, we can only guess and maybe scare ourselves a little too much. After all, not knowing if you're really speaking to a friend and not an imposter is horrifying.